So, good morning, good night, good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to a brand new interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. And today we're talking to it's it's not a new band, but it's a newer band, and they're from Chicago. The band is called Lavisher, and I'm talking with Gavin Cushman. He's like the vocalist, and he plays a lot of instruments on this album. And they're releasing their second album, Aligned and Vital, November the 14th, out on Nefarious Industries. And we're here to talk about it. So first of all, Gavin, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a crazy day, but I'm excited to do this and happy you asked me to do it. So yeah, happy to be here.
Nice. So we were chatting offline. Like when I got the promo for this, I saw that it said space rock alternative, and it mentioned. I saw that. I'm like, it piqued my interest. Then I
Okay.
and then I saw like if you like Queens of the Stone Age, like Failure. I'm like yes, and yes.
Good. Good.
And I said I'll check out this band Lavisher. So I checked it out, and I'm glad I'm here to talk about the upcoming album. There's an EP right now that has like at least 5 songs from the album.
Yeah, and it's just called an EP because I was trying to just put out singles, but I'm doing that waterfall release method where you add the previous single to the single you release, you know what I mean? So they're all pretty supposed to be singles, but they're being classified as an EP by the music distribution service that I use. You know what I mean? And there's no way around that. But it calls them an EP, and I guess it is. But I just tried to mix them all up every time I released a new single so that people would be, hear them in a different order and maybe stumble across one that they like. That was the idea. But 5 singles out, and that's all the singles. Next is the album. So.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, like the distribution services, there's a band from my native Puerto Rico that they released. It's basically an EP of, it's an 8-minute EP of like 10 or something songs, but it's
Okay.
put on an album. But I'm like, an 8-minute album? I mean, like, what the hell?
That's weird. It shouldn't have called it that. Oh, just because there's so many tracks. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
I think
Okay.
so. And when I reviewed that album, I put like an 8-minute album, and then the dude's like, it's supposed to be an EP, but they put up we're going with it. It's funny because people would click like an 8-minute album, like what the hell, what the hell is that? But no, I listened to obviously I've listened to the whole thing. I think it's 14
Cool.
songs, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's 12.
It's 12 songs. The
Mhm.
perfect number, for an album. That's like a very 90s thing. 12. That was
Oh,
every album had 12 songs. The,
yeah.
the 80s it was 8 or 10. But then in the 90s, like almost all the albums have 12 songs and the hidden track. But I do not think there's not a hidden track on this one. So at least not that I heard at the end. So tell us a little bit about the history of Lavisher because you started this project in 2017.
Yeah, I moved to the city of Chicago in 2015, and I came kind of with these songs, 5 songs that I even played drums on a couple of those, but there was a couple other guys that did drums on a couple tracks, and then I played everything else, kind of like this album and everything else, that we've done since. But that was like the launching pad. I was like, I want to start a new band, and I came up with the name Lavisher, and then met some people. Met my first drummer, Gabe, who I was with for quite a while, and we wrote the following. The thing after that EP, we wrote together, Drastic Shadows. It was an LP, and barely an LP, but I did
Right.
that with
20,
him. And then we did a few singles after that, kind of around the pandemic time. And then we kind of just had to split ways. We just weren't, we kind of wrote everything that we could together, and it was just kind of at the end of its road, and we're still friends. But shortly after that, I was looking around for a drummer and met this guy, Ben. And we met at a show. He was selling merch for a friend's band that I was there to see. And I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. And then a few days after that, I posted an ad for a drummer, and he saw it. like on Craigslist of all places, because I posted on everything, and that was the place he saw it. Was like, who uses that anymore? I do. He does, but he saw it and he was like, "Oh, rumor has it you're looking for a drummer," and I was like, "Yeah." And then we got together and just we're having a lot of fun, and we started writing what the new album is. Pretty much, there was like a couple songs that were kind of done already before I met him that are on this album, but for the most part, we just would get together and jam and come up with stuff real fast, and then I would spend forever like coming up with the bass lines for it and writing melodies and lyrics for it after we created the shell for the song. And then so we kind of both are producers on the album. And that's how it happened. That's pretty much the whole history. And then there's kind of been a cast of people playing guitar and bass for live shows. And so I'm real happy with the current lineup. It's the best lineup so far, and we all get along great, and we're excited to play this stuff live.
Yeah, I was reading when you met Ben, like that reignited the passion for you for the music. So I'm guessing you grew up like me in the 90s.
Yeah. Yes, I did. I I was born in 86. And so, the 90s music was heavy on me, like a lot of just Nine Inch Nails, Tool, Rage Against the Machine, Deftones, all that stuff. I actually didn't even discover Failure until later, and then I was like, why didn't I know about this band? Which I think is a story for a lot of people who discovered that band late. They kind of blew up late after they broke up. And then I got to see them a couple times after they got back together. But yeah, 90s music was huge in my life, and I kind of listened to a little bit of everything, like not too much hip hop or country, but everything else. A little bit of hip hop, but yeah, 90s is the best, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I was around in the 90s. I'm actually older than you. so,
No
so
shit.
yes, I was born in 1977, believe it or not.
Wow, you look great, man.
It's the Latin genes in me.
Yeah.
So,
I wish I had those.
but the 90s was like it's like when I really got into music. So a lot because I listened to the whole album. I like a lot of like the guitar tones that you use on a lot of the songs. And let's talk about a song in particular. Let's start with Sultry, which you have the music
Okay.
video, and we'll talk about the music video and all. So Sultry, first of all, the music video, it reminded me of those old movies, because you're basically the music video, you're driving and people are getting in your car and everyone's
Yeah.
getting sultry except you.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Tell me a little bit about the music video and what the song is about.
Well, the song I like to say is kind of a personal torment fever dream. Um, so it's about a few things, but the video element of it just came out of like when I was driving up Lakeshore Drive one night. I just have this memory of writing a lot of the lyrics that night, and it was like raining, and back then I was a heavy smoker, so I was smoking a lot. And then like when I was trying to come up with ideas a couple of years later for this video, I met these two people, Sarah and Matt, who ended up going with to make the video. And we were spitballing for ideas. And I was like, I just feel like I just see a car. Like it'd be cool if I was just driving a car, and and then we could build around that kind of. And I did say like driving up Lakeshore Drive, which is a main road along the lake here in Chicago. And so they went out and strapped a really nice camera to their car and like drove through downtown and drove up Lakeshore Drive and got all this original footage, which is what you see projected behind me. So that was really cool. And then looking for the car itself, I got kind of lucky. I was looking forever and just couldn't find anything because it's super expensive. Nobody wants to let you borrow their car. And then I paint houses for a living, and I pulled up to a client's house, and he pulled up at the same time in this car, and I was like, "What is this car? This is such a sweet car." And I asked him, like, "Do you know anybody that like, are you friends with any other people that rent these kind of cars?" And he was like, "Why don't you just want to use this car?" And I was like, "Well, sure, that'd be great." So I got really lucky there. Um,
Did he know it was for a music video?
yeah, I told him the whole thing, like why I was looking for a car, and then he was like, "Oh, that sounds really cool. Yeah, just give me an executive producer credit." I was like, "Sure." So it all just kind of came together, and then there was this spitballing of the characters. We came up with a list of ideas, and we settled on what you see now, and started reaching out to friends to fill out the cast, and then they just got it done, and edited it really well, and it was a blast to make. Yeah, I feel really lucky with all the people that came together on that one night to get it done.
Yeah, and proof that you don't have to like break the budget for a because it looks cool. The music video, it looks cool. I don't know why it reminded me of like that scene, like John Travolta driving in Pulp Fiction, or
Yeah,
all because you're smoking in the music video, and you're driving,
yeah,
and you have like the footage behind you, everything that's passing, and obviously the song is named Sultry, so it made sense
yeah,
with the vibes of the song.
yeah. So I think the video just it matched the song so well. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the story there. Yeah, I'm excited to make more music videos. I don't know how long that'll take, but I'm gonna try to get a couple more done to promote the album in the next several months or something. I'm talking to some people about ideas, just kind of in the idea stage right now, but yeah.
It's kind of hard when it's like, like music back in the day, music videos were so important, but now music videos, like people can stream them on YouTube, like there's at least I haven't seen MTV in a lot of years, and
It's
I
all
heard
about YouTube, right?
it's all about YouTube. It's easier because back then you had to wait until your favorite music video went on,
Yeah.
and, and you didn't know when it was gonna come on. But so
I
today
remember that. You remember that.
I remember that. Yes,
A lot of people that don't remember that.
a lot of people that won't remember that, but in the 90s, for example, The Prodigy had a music video for Smack My Bitch Up that you could only see after midnight. So you have to the music video obviously have nudity, and it was a great music
Yeah.
video.
And it said bitch 500 times, so they had to air it after midnight.
It's said that like 500 times. So yeah,
That's a good video.
yeah, they couldn't air that in the daytime. So the recording process about this, because you worked a lot on this, and you play different instruments. Tell me a little bit about the process for recording this record.
So the process usually is I got some riffs in my phone. Just usually starts with, or chords or whatever. Just ideas on my phone. And for the ones that I wrote with Ben, I would just go play him some things, and then, whatever kind of excited us in the moment the most, we would just be like, let's just work on this. And most of the time we would be able to just play it for a while and be like, okay, what should happen next? What should happen next? And come up with some options. He helped me a lot with not just like getting too attached to stuff too fast, because sometimes I'll like just write something and be like, okay, this is what it is. It's kind of how I've been for a while. And I've been trying to break away from that and be more loose with the writing process. So he's helped me a lot with that. But I try to demo them out like as well as I can. My drummer Ben has a studio at his house too, where he can record drums really well. So it's awesome to just, we can come up with some ideas. I can come home, go to my rehearsal space, whatever, lay out a whole guitar, stem and send it to him, and just be like, just put drums on it. And then he sends it back, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Sometimes, usually just like, that's good to go. And then we would refine it a little bit after that, leading up to the actual studio recording process. But show them riffs, build a skeleton, then Then I lay down bass usually, and then I start writing melody ideas and lyric ideas. And we kind of went back and forth with him too, because I wanted him to love every part of it, So I would have him weigh in on that whole process too. Which most of the time he was good with what I did, but sometimes he would have really good constructive criticism, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I should go in this direction more." Um, so after, we get him pretty solid demos, just to the point where we want them, and then we go book time at a real studio. And I've come in contact over the last 10 years with several people who were great at recording here in Chicago. And there's a guy named Pete Grossman who works out of Bricktop Recording down in Pilsen, or Bridgeport or Pilsen. And that's just a neighborhood in Chicago. And he's got a great drum room. And I'm just like, let's just do drums with him. We actually did the entire Drastic Shadows LP with him, guitars and vocals, and we did everything there. This time around, I just did a little different, kind of for one reason, to save a little money doing some of it myself at home, because I picked up some pretty decent recording gear, really good preamps, a compressor, and I'm pretty good with Pro Tools. I've been using it for a long time now. So we did drums with Pete, and then this other friend of mine, Adrian Kobziar, who works out of Olmsted Recording. I knew that I wanted to do guitars this time with him, just because he's just got the personality that I wanted to, take that on with. And he's very playful, and we spent a lot of time on the guitars on this record and playing, but he's got a bunch of different amps, bunch of different pedals. He really knows what he's doing. Lots of mics. So like every guitar take, pretty much, we would have 2 amps and 2 cabs and 2 mics on each cab, just for one guitar take, just to have like an immense guitar sound. For some reason, I don't know how I kind of stumbled onto this, but I ended up using a lot of octave down guitars for riffs, So that was fun, getting that dialed in with him. So we did all the guitars with him. Then I tracked the bass at home, and then took my time doing it at home, just having fun, and then took that back into his studio and reamped it for each song. It was totally different reamping, tweaked differently for each individual song, just to match the song. And then I did all the vocals myself. I recorded myself and edited myself up at Ben's studio in the country up north of Chicago. It's where he lives. Just because it was a really dead room compared to this room you see behind me. But that's it. And then Adrian, the guy who recorded the guitars, also mixed the entire album. So that was a pretty extensive process too. Some songs I was just like, I just kept going back for revisions. So he's going to go to heaven for having so much patience with me. I paid him for extra time too. But sorry.
Good to know that you paid him for the extra time.
Yeah, I paid a little extra for the ridiculous amount of revisions that I put him through. But in the end, he just, I was like, I just want to love it when I hear it, and he's like, I get it. We're gonna get it there. We're gonna get it there. And it was like really minor tweaks. Like I was kind of psycho with it. If you ask anybody else, but
did he tell you if you were the reincarnation of, well, no, I think he's like Mott Lang?
No, he didn't say that. But sometimes we would fight about mixes sometimes. He'd be like, I'm telling you, it's got to be this way. And I'm like, no. And then when you finally like come to an agreement on something, that's when something really awesome can happen, when 2 people care about it so much, And Ben would weigh in too on the mixing, but he was pretty passive about that process because I was so aggressive. He felt he didn't really, need to. He knew there's probably would be too many cooks in the kitchen if he started having super strong opinions on a lot of stuff too. So, um, yeah. And then we finished mixing it, and then I was like, oh my God, it's done. And then I started looking for artwork and got all that squared away. And I'm just so excited for it to come out. It's got to be thousands of hours now put into this record.
Well,
So
remember, like almost at the beginning, I said that I enjoyed a lot the guitar tone that you have on this record. So
yeah,
I think
Adrian, man, send people to Adrian. You want some awesome guitars?
yeah, there's some scenes from this record. There's guitar, but it's good to know like all the. So was the process like? How long did it take? Like 6 months?
Well, there was a few phases like um so there's a song called Charmer and Sultry um and Detached. Those were tracked kind of earlier. Like I went in with Adrian and like just when I had two songs ready, I was like, I just want to get these two songs done. And then I like did them. And then I was like, well, I'm probably rushing. I don't want to put out just a couple songs. I want to get everything else done
Mhm.
we're gonna have on this album and then mix it all at once so it sounds cohesive. But for the most part, um, man, I'd have to like look up dates, but I think it was like, when was it? When did we track that?
Well, it took some time. It's not.
Yeah, I like over the last year and a half or something, it's like was the whole process, I think. I think it took about that long to get drums down, then record everything else and get it edited and then mixed and then mastered. Like all of that was probably about a year and a half or something.
It took a while. And you mentioned a
Yeah.
song that I actually want to talk more about that song, and that's Detached, which I know it's a more personal track that you wrote.
Yeah.
You can, if you don't mind, if
Well,
talking
that's
about.
fine.
Oh, sorry.
That's totally fine.
Uh,
We can talk about that song.
yes, I asked because sometimes there's musicians, they're like, I don't want to talk about that song, like, but you wrote it, man. like so, but yeah, it's a great song, both musically and lyrically. But obviously, you're gonna explain it better than me.
Well, when I demoed that song, it was before I even met Ben, my new drummer. Um, and I was kind of rehearsing it with the last drummer, and I knew I really liked the song. Like it's kind of like almost more of a pop song than any of the other songs, just in its structure.
Mhm.
Um, but all the little details in it with the guitars and stuff just kind of came together, and I don't even remember how. It just came out, and um, I remember, when I finished the demo for it, which was pretty lo-fi, but I was like, this is like giving me a feeling, like a really strong emotional feeling when I hear it. And we tried to record it in the studio, and it just didn't have the same feeling for some reason, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was like, I just had to like shelf it for a while and think about it, um and then I had someone else mix it several times, and then I thought it was pretty much done then. Uh, but I didn't want to put it out. It was just kind of like sitting there, done and mixed, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I met Ben, and we started writing all these other songs, and then we started tracking, and he was like, he's like, I'd really like to redo the drums on that, because some of them were kind of like tiny and crappy sounding, because some of them were just like me playing um with not very nice mics in my old rehearsal space, but I was like, it captured the feeling, you know what I mean? Um, so then we redid drums and tried to mix it like that, and it was like all out of whack. And then I was like, holy shit. So I went in and opened up the demo session and the studio session because I have all those tracks, you know, in my computer too. And I went through all the tracks and figured out like what is wrong here and what should stay and what should go, and just started like taking things out and then puzzle pieced it all together, which is a pretty intense process. And then I was like, okay, I think this is right. Now I just got to have it mixed, you know. And then I gave that to Adrian when he was mixing um the rest of the album, and he just uh did a great job on it, I think, and you know, enough for me to be happy with it finally. But it was excruciating working on that song because it's like kind of an emotional song. You know, my father passed away in 2016, and like after that, I was just having a lot of feelings, and I think that those feelings fell into that song. So it was a way to work through a time in my life, you know. Um, but I just think it's really pretty, and I like playing it still too. It doesn't like make me too sad. It's like it's fun to play because I think it's a really pretty song now. And so, you know, we're gonna play that one at the album release show and following shows, you know.
It's a great track.
Thanks,
And,
man.
and you know, I was talking to you about a band offline that last year, and I remember the name right now
Who was it?
of that band. Oh, that band that I discovered last year that I got obsessed with, Midas Falls.
Midas Falls. I'll write that down.
Beautiful tracks. So I was
Awesome.
obsessed with them, and now, like I was saying to you, like your album is like this new band that I discovered, and I like discovering new bands because a lot of old
Me
fart,
too.
a lot of people, old people say like there's no new bands anymore.
Well, that's bullshit. I
Yes,
find stuff all the time.
yeah, I find bands all the time, but usually this is since I love the 90s so much, I gravitate to because there's like a 90s revival, like a lot of bands like doing like
Oh yeah. And like young people too, like young
young
bands that are
like
just like grunged the fuck out.
yeah. Yeah, because the promo for your album says like grunge space. I'm like I don't know if I would describe it grunge. It's like rock with some spacey psychedelic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, I'm curious to hear people's feedback on that label because I was just trying to come up with one like a way to describe it that kind of, you know, sparks some curiosity. But also like I guess I said grunge just because of the guitars, but I said velvet grunge because my vocals are really clean and I'm not singing like Kurt Cobain. Um,
yeah,
and
your
I can't sing like Kurt Cobain. If I tried, I can't scream, and I don't really have a grovelly voice, you know. And I'm fine with that. I've
is more
accepted that.
and more like in that shoegaze realm, like
Yeah.
alternative. To me, your sound is like an alternative rock band with some like psychedelic, like rock stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes it's hard to describe stuff, but I'm like I don't know if I would say grunge, but I don't know. I think I grunge. I like it's like a like, but you know, it's an alternative rock band with some spacey stuff.
It's not like dirty enough to be grunge, right? Or
Well,
what?
it depends because grunge had so like, for example, like Pearl Jam and Nirvana sound nothing alike. Like, and they were both labeled grunge, and you have the Smashing Pumpkins and stuff that sounds totally different. So I don't know. To me, I just
What would you call Alice in Chains? What would they be?
well, Alice in Chains is the most metal band out of the grunge bands, if you ask me, because they were like they could open for Megadeth, but they could also go with other bands. But they did something that that's one of my favorites. They did the dual sing. They had two singers. which is always an amazing
Yeah.
thing that they could harmonize at the same time. So yeah,
Yeah. I think I
it's,
got the space rock thing because I saw that failure is called space rock a lot of times. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's just try that label out, because I feel like
yeah,
we kind of line up with them pretty well.
yeah.
Um,
Failure
so that's
is
why I
like
think the space rock thing.
they put like space rock or like shoegaze stuff, but yeah, I would say like spacey rock alternative stuff. Yeah, but when I listened to to this record, I got a lot of like failure and some Queen of the Stone Age, but like a little bit of spice in that. So that's what I got from the music plus
Great.
the guitar tone. Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah, Queen of the Stone Age is like my favorite.
yeah, they're a great band. So the that detached song, so it premiered on it premiered this week on it's streaming somewhere, right? The detached song, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It got premiered last Thursday and then it went streaming everywhere Friday. So it's out on everything now.
Nice. So yeah, so
Yeah.
let's talk about there's one song that you didn't get the writing and it's way too much. That song, like who wrote that song because it had another name.
Way too much. That was my brother Andrew actually wrote the original version of that song a long time ago. Um, my brother Andrew's a very good guitarist. He blows me away. He can play classical guitar too. He went to school for that. And he was like kind of my guitar hero growing up, He taught me a lot of stuff. Um, but I played in a band with him and two other siblings for a while when I was much younger called Blush. And that fell apart. And then I did a bunch of solo stuff. And then he also was writing solo stuff just for fun. And actually had like one or two shows where he was singing and playing guitar, singing his songs, and I was playing guitar and singing with him. Our other brother Steven was playing drums, and we had another dude playing bass, and that was one of the songs that he had written, but he never even recorded it. And then he didn't really, he was like, well, that was fun. And I'm like, you're not going to keep playing. And he's like, I don't know. Then he got married and had kids and stuff. So
Uh,
he he still plays out sometimes, but he kind of just focuses on classical guitar now. And he just recently bought a really nice classical guitar, and he's really excited about that, But he had told me a while back, many years ago, like kind of like right after I moved to Chicago, he was like, if you want to use any of those songs, just use them. He's like, I don't think I'm going to use them anymore or ever again, and I'm not going to record them. And it's like, okay. So I had demoed out a couple a while back. Just like I'm like, okay, I'll just try to do my take on these songs and demoed them out and showed a couple of them to Ben, and he really liked that one way too much. And I was like, great, cool, because my last drummer didn't like that one for some. And I was like, okay, whatever, we won't use it. But then Ben did, and so we went to the studio and did it, and the guitars on that sound awesome. I think like the combination of kind of clean, pure amp distortion, cleaner distortion, mixed with a couple tracks that had a really crazy fuzz on it. It just like
mm,
when the chorus hits, it kind of explodes. My brother approves of it. I asked him. He said it's a good version of the song. So, yeah, shout out to my
good.
brother. He did a great
Yeah.
job writing that song, and a lot of people it's their favorite song. So,
So you guys would have almost been the new Chevelle. Because my brother,
almost.
yeah, there's there's brothers in the band Chevelle. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So I want to show the
Thank
artwork
you.
for the record, so we can talk a little bit
Okay.
about the artwork. I think it's a picture.
Okay.
here it is. Tell me a little bit about what the artwork is, what you were going for.
Well, this is the album cover, and it was the final image to be delivered by an artist named Puzzle Man, who lives in Japan. I think he's from Taiwan, but he lives in Japan, and he's just an incredible photographer. And I found an image of his online when I was scouring the internet for hours and hours, looking for ideas or people or artists, because I didn't want to use AI and I didn't want to, half-ass the artwork for these songs. I wanted something that felt really powerful. And so I found this image and I was like, who made this? And I was able to figure out who it was and send him an email and was like, originally I was just like, can I can I buy the rights to this image? I really love it. And he was like, no, he got back to me. He was like, no, it's, that's someone else's image that was for something or whatever. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, would you be interested in me commissioning you to make several pieces for my new singles and album cover? And he was like, well, send me the music. And so I sent him the music and he was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, yeah, I would enjoy doing this. And so I got really excited. and I said, well, just listen to the music and kind of do whatever comes to mind for you, And pretty much for all the singles, he sent me originally hand-drawn sketches of ideas. And I was like, well, these are wild. And I was like, that I think I can imagine what songs these would actually go with, what singles. And I said, yeah, go ahead, make them. And then he executed those and delivered them. And I was, my jaw dropped and I was like, these are just insane. They're so cool. The eggs in the shirt and the headphones coming out of the egg and the other one, and cigarette with the hook and the foot with the sushi on it, which grossed a lot of people out, but I love that image. It's unforgettable. And then there was a couple ideas he sent for the album cover, real rough ideas. And I was like, these are pretty cool, but I feel like it should be more grand and just feel like, the mother of all these other images. And he was like, okay, grand. I think I know what you mean. And I have an idea. And then he sent me a hand-drawn sketch of this image. And I was like, I really like this concept. It's like combining the feminine with the masculine and all that. And when he delivered this image, I just like started tearing up. I was like, this is so beautiful. And it's like exactly what the cover needs. And that's how it all happened,
Because there's like flowers. There's like, it's something you look at it. I'm like, I wonder what I'm seeing, because there's like different flowers and there's like it looks like a robot face in the background. So it's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a motorcycle helmet, stuffed with flowers. And he had a florist come in, and I asked him later, I was like, do you got any behind the scenes of making all these images? Because some people don't believe that you actually took these photos. Some people thought that they were like digital renderings, And he was like, oh yeah, let me see what I can find. And one of them he sent me, I didn't post it yet, but it's them like shoving the flowers in this helmet. It's pretty funny video. But yeah, and he sent me two versions of that image. One is the helmet facing head on, which is going to be on the back of the vinyl, and I'm using that one to make shirts and stickers too. But I thought it was too abrasive to be on the cover of the album. The one that's at an angle just seemed like perfect for the cover for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out.
It's a good album cover, and the colors pop out at you. You have to look at it. So yeah, it's a good job for that. So the I love the opening track, No Sign of Mine, which that one hasn't been released yet, and the album closer, Redressed. I thought where they're both. I like the opening and the ending song. I'm not saying that the
Well,
rest of
thank you.
I didn't like. I like the I like the whole album, but it seems like there's a lot of like themes in this record. So the album title, Aligned and Vital, does it have a meaning for you?
Yeah, it's the title track. I picked it to be the title track because it has a very positive intention to it. And it's kind of like, to put the song in a nutshell, that song in a nutshell, it's kind of a call for a constant psyche reset, for one to maximize their potential, um, you know, personal growth and whatever is kind of hindered, I think, by routine, you know. So it's just, the importance of getting outside your comfort zone, pushing yourself, because that's really, I feel like, one of the keys to being happy and feeling aligned and vital.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a nutshell, and I really like how that song turned out. The verses are kind of creepy, but like Ben really restrained me on the choruses for that. He's like, I want it to be the biggest, dumbest, longest, it's just like do, simple. And so I was like, okay. And I kind of like how we did that here and there on this album, where it's just really simple guitars with really intentional melodies, that just work really well together, and strip it really down instead of just adding layers and layers of shit to try to make the song big.
You don't
um,
want to much
yeah,
shit for the sound. Yeah. So you guys have an
yeah, I'm not
album.
into too much shit.
Not
Sorry.
too much. So you have an album release show on November the 8th, and I have the flyer here, so we can talk about that show that you have in just in a week and a
Yeah,
half. So here's the flyer, and you guys are playing with another band, Royale something. Uh, so tell
the
me a little
band
bit.
the band Royale.
Yeah. So tell me
Tell
a
you
little.
about the show.
Yeah, tell me about the show.
I am very excited about this show because this is pretty special. It's a DIY show, which I don't really do much of. The venue is a motorcycle shop, that's owned by the friend of a friend of the bassist from the band Royale, Mark, who I've become friends with over the years. I discovered the band Royale pretty soon, like in like 16 or something, 2016. I found them on a streaming service and I was like, this band is amazing. And I listened to that album, which was their first album, As Long as the Money Lasted, what it's called. And then shortly after that, I was at the Empty Bottle, which is a venue here in Chicago, and I saw, just from the pictures on their profile on the streaming service, I saw Mark walking across, and I'm like, "Hey, are you in the band Royale?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, it's nice to meet you because I love your album." And then we kind of became friends just from that. And so this is going to be the 10th anniversary of them releasing that album. They've released a lot of albums since then and cool singles and stuff, and they're one of my favorite Chicago bands. So I feel lucky to be friends with them and sharing this night with them, where it's like the 10th anniversary of this, and then also our album release at a motorcycle shop. And we both have our own, lighting people. There's a food truck is going to be there. It's sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon, which is a beer company. And it's going to start with a curated vinyl DJ set by my friend Sarah Giroux, who actually is one of the two people who made the Sultry music video. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. And Mark, who plays in Band Royale, me and him are actually in another band together called Huntsman, with an E-M-E-N, Huntsman. And I've been a fan of that band for a long time. And their guitar player quit a couple years ago, and he called me and he was like, would you be interested in playing guitar with us and replacing Kirill, who was the guy who left? And I was like, well, I told myself I wasn't gonna join another band because it's hard enough to find time to do anything. But yeah, I would love to do that. And so I've been playing in Huntsman for a couple of years now too, and had to learn their back catalog. That was fun. It's not easy. Their songs are like 10 minutes long, but it's Americana metal is what their genre is. And
And
yeah, so that's been fun. Yeah, I've
so
gotten close with Mark through that too. And
so it seems like,
sorry.
yeah, that it seems like that show's gonna be tons of fun, like you're gonna be doing a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. The only bad thing is that if I was near Chicago, I would totally go to that show. Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I'm trying to promote it. I've been walking around putting up posters. It's a big night. We're gonna have the vinyl delivered just in time for this album. And yeah, I'm really excited to play this show.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be cool. We're gonna play pretty much the whole new record, almost, like, except for like a couple songs maybe. And then we're gonna play, one or two older ones.
Yeah. And I
And
gotta
be a good
I
time.
got that other band, the Royale Band, because I haven't listened to them, so I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, check
The-
them out.
I'll
Start
check
from the
them
beginning. That
out
album is fucking awesome.
with the first album. So the album,
It's so good stuff.
Couchsurf album's going to be out on 11/14 on Nefarious Industries. I'll post the link for people who want to get the vinyl because there's going to be how many variants are you having for the album?
Sorry?
Oh, how many
How
variants
many
are you?
what?
How many like variants of the vinyl? Like only one or two?
Oh, how many vinyls did we get pressed? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
no,
saying?
the variants, like with different colors and stuff.
We're just getting one version of it for now. It's a short run. Um, Getting like, I think we got 200 or 300. And it's clear. It's clear vinyl. I just really liked, I was looking at so many cool designs, and then I was like, I kind of don't want to distract from this amazing artwork that this guy made. And it just looked really slick pulling a clear vinyl out of the art that this guy created. So we might do some special editions of it. They're different, but for now it's that one, and you can pre-order it now. We also got new T-shirts that we just became available on our Bandcamp that are they come in any size. You can order them online. Those will be at the show too. Got other merch on there, other shirts and CDs and stuff. If you're into CDs, are you still buying CDs
Not really.
or not?
Not re-
Yeah,
uh,
me
I,
neither. Apparently, people are.
yeah, yeah. I just don't have a CD player anymore in my car. Like I have some CDs.
Me
Uh,
neither.
I have a record player where I play some of my records and stuff. So Gavin, I want to thank you for taking some time of your night to chat with me about Lavisher
Yeah.
and Align and Vital. So before I let you go, anything you like to say to the people before we go?
Um, Man, I'm just really happy you had me here, and I hope people can give this new album of ours a chance. There's something on it for everybody. So yeah, it's every song kind of has its own personality to it. So it's a lot of fun. So check it out.
Yeah, and I can guarantee it because I listened to it, and it's an album that it's not an album that every song sounds the same. There's different stuff. So if you like different stuff in like space rock, the more like more like hard rocking or different stuff, you will enjoy this album by Lavisher. So Gavin, thank you, for joining me from Chicago here to Puerto Rico. So until next time, couchers, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.